Distribution provided by Cloud Sigma, the cloud that adapts to you. Visit cloudsigma.com/thisweekend for a free $200 credit.
Today's episode of This Week in Startups is brought to you by Turnstone. More than furniture, we're an experience. Go to myturnstone.com/twist to learn more and receive 10% off your first order. And by GoToMeeting. Sign up for GoToMeeting using promo code TWIST to begin your free trial.
Today on the program, Zillabyte, the company that won Best Enterprise 2.0 at the Launch Festival 2013. They're doing Pandora for sales leads. And if that sounds fascinating, it is. It's going to change everything about the way people sell and about the way people prospect. And it's a company that a half dozen angel investor friends of mine have really gotten excited about. And I can't make any announcements, but I think there's going to be some exciting news from this company in the weeks and months ahead. Stick with us. It's going to be an amazing program.
That's what it's all about, man. They said money is the root of all evil. What? Funny how it feeds my people. Yeah. We ain't gonna live like equals until we get the money, spend the money, and defeat you. Yeah. Money is the root of all evil. What? Funny how it feeds my people. Yeah. We ain't gonna live like equals until we get the money, spend the money, and defeat you.
Hey everybody, what a great episode we're having here today on This Week in Startups. And I want to thank my friends at GoToMeeting, first of all, for making a great product that I use literally every day. I do about 15 to 25 meetings a week, 3 to 5 a day, 20 minutes, 30 minutes each, sometimes 45 minutes, with different entrepreneurs or partners or people who I might hire or people we're collaborating with. And I got to tell you, GoToMeeting means I get to see all of them in my heads-up display, click start, and the meeting starts on time. And everybody understands how to use it, and we know how to share our screens. It just works. Meeting is believing. I implore you to please go try GoToMeeting. It's a solution for meeting with clients and coworkers in different locations, on the go, easy, quick hosting of online meetings. You don't need to really give a lot of complicated instructions. You just give the URL, short URL, and boom, people are on the call. Launch or join these meetings from anywhere using your computer, smartphone, or tablet, and you can screen share amongst the attendees. I do this all the time. Hey, let me show you something on my screen. Hey, let me give you control, and you can show me something on yours. And you can even present with your iPad, which is very cool. The beautiful HD Faces feature is the one I use here on This Week in Startups, along with my Logitech 1080p cameras to get my guests over the phone. Beautiful audio fidelity, better than any audio fidelity of any over-the-internet service that I've ever used. It's perfect and flawless. Why? Because it's a paid product at a reasonable price that is designed for professionals. GoToMeeting is professional, not amateur hour like some of these other services. And trust me, I've used those other services, and God, I'm pulling my hair out, what's left of it, from people using these other services and meetings starting late. So go to GoToMeeting.com to start your 30-day free trial. Click on the Try It Free button and use the promo code TWIST, TWIST. That's right, 30-day free trial. Just go to GoToMeeting, click on the Try It Free button, and use the promo code TWIST, as in This Week in Startups. GoToMeeting, meeting is believing. And we're giving away some of these great HD webcams. GoToMeeting with HD Faces lets you meet face-to-face with any team member, no matter where or wherever you're located. So we're going to do a contest. GoToMeeting, if you could do a meeting with anybody, anywhere, who would it be? And why? So I want to meet with Elon Musk on the moon, whatever, come up with something clever. And you can tweet your answer to @#TwistWebcam. That's right. And #GoToMeeting. So just do #TwistWebcam and #GoToMeeting. Chances to win one of 3 of these HD webcams. And the HD webcams make it really buttery and awesome. That's what I use, not the standard webcam here. I have these gorgeous ones you can't see, but I'm using it right now. The contest ends on June 6th at midnight, and all 3 winners will be announced on the Tuesday, June 11th episode. So go ahead and tell us, who would you love to do a HD Faces meeting with, and why, in a tweet. Just use the hashtag #TwistWebcam and #GoToMeeting. Thank you so much to my friends at GoToMeeting. And again, it's great that you sponsor the program. Listen, all of us love the fact that you respect and support startups and the entrepreneur founder community. I think it's just wonderful. But entrepreneurs need to take meetings. They need to be on time, and they need to go like clockwork, and they need to be professional. That's the most important thing for people to remember here. Be a professional when you're meeting with angel investors, potential hires. You want to just start the meeting off on the right foot, and that starts with being on time. and it working cross-platform, anywhere, anytime. This stuff just works. Thank you. I love you at GoToMeeting for making a great product. Let's get back to this great episode. Thanks again, GoToMeeting. Hey, everybody. This is This Week in Startups, the program where we talk about startups, entrepreneurship, founding companies, building products, changing the world through those products. And today I have Jake Quist on the program. He is the CEO and co-founder of Zillabyte. Zillabyte, if you follow the Launch Festival, which is the festival, for those of you who are new to the program, that I've done for 6 years now. This year, 6,000 people came to the event here in San Francisco over 3 days, and 50 companies launched on stage, and 250 companies were in what we call the demo pit, just showing their products. 6,000 people came, and of those 50 companies on stage, about a dozen of them won awards. And one of the awards is for Best Consumer Product. The other is for Best Enterprise. There are new companies. There are companies that are doing new versions of their products. And Zillabyte really captured people's imagination and won Best Enterprise 2.0, which means an existing company with a new product. And so if you want more information on Launch, by the way, go to launch.co, and you'll see the festival and our news product and all that kind of great stuff. We do this program, This Week in Startups, twice a week. On Tuesdays at 1 p.m. Pacific, and you can go to youtube.com/thisweekend to see the show. Or you can go to thisweekend.com or thisweekinstartups.com, either of those. And you follow us on Twitter at TWiStartups. So we do the show twice a week. On Fridays, we do a news roundtable where we talk about the news with 2 or 3 people who are really brilliant. And then I show up. Yes, thank you. And on Tuesdays, we talk with entrepreneurs and or angel investors and / venture capitalists. So people who make startups or people who invest in them, or people who have done both in some cases, which I'm one of those. I angel invest in companies and I start them. And what do we try to do here? We try to learn. We try to share the best practices. We try to get better, because being an entrepreneur, it's not a static thing. It's very dynamic. The rules change constantly. What worked in the year 2000 is much different than what works in the year 2013. And we're all learning. I've done this show for over 350 episodes. And I can tell you where we started 4 years ago is much different than where we are today. And anyway, if you want to get off the bench and you want to make a product, this is the show for you. And you should go back and you should just start watching and listening to shows, 1 show a day. That's my... And then in a year, you'll have caught up. Just think about that. That's how many shows we've done. If you watch 1 show a day, in 1 year, you will have watched all the shows. And you will have my respect, and you will be brilliant and smart, and you'll be able to start your own internet company. So Jake Quist can be followed at JACOBQUIST on Twitter, and is the CEO and co-founder of Zillabyte. Welcome to the program, Jake.
Thank you for having me. It's a pleasure to be here.
So tell the audience, what does Zillabyte do?
So Zillabyte is a service that helps B2B companies find new customers. And the way we do that is by first looking at who your customers are, and then B, building a algorithmic model about what those customers look like, and then C, using all the world's information to actually go find those customers. We call it Pandora for leads.
Okay, so I'm a business-to-business company. Let's say I was a software company that sold software to restaurants.
Right.
So I'm, what is that, like OpenTable, or I got a new service for restaurants that is a time management software or something, or billing software. So I have 100 customers already. I put those 100 customers into Zillabyte, and then what happens?
Okay, so let's say your 100 customers, let's say they're early adopters. So let's say we actually look at the data, and we find that your early customers tend to use OpenTable or some other early adopter service.
Well, how do you know that?
Because
how do you have that data about my customers?
We can crawl the web, and we can basically infer a lot of signals from their online presence.
Okay, so you go to joespub.com, and you find out there's an OpenTable. There's OpenTable on that server.
Exactly.
Or linked from there, or a Yelp review.
Right.
Or maybe the Yelp score?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, anything that's on the web is fair game for us, and we try to build models based on all these signals.
So you're scraping the web.
Correct.
For information on my clients, and then you try to find a pattern?
Yeah, exactly.
And you've done this for existing clients?
Yeah. We obviously we didn't start the company with this idea, but we stumbled across this idea and realized that people are actually willing to pay for this type of service. And as you know, that's a great signal for a startup to actually have.
So you started the company a couple of years ago with a different idea.
Yeah, exactly.
What was the other idea?
The original idea was to build an API on top of the world's information. So I used to work at Google, and the idea was let's bring the power of Google to everybody else. We got into Y Combinator with that idea, but at the end of the day, people don't tear their hair out saying, I need to analyze the world's information. But we were fortunate enough to have some early adopters who wanted to use our service for basically what we're doing now. So they would come to us and say, hey, Zillabyte, help me find some customers using your copy of the web.
So you've basically organized a lot of information that are on people's websites, and you can say, if I said to you, take the top 1,000 Alexa ranked domain names and tell me how many of them use Google Analytics, you could tell me that.
Exactly.
And I might be able to infer something like that, like maybe they would be good for my analytics product, which competes with Google Analytics.
Exactly. So when we started this thing, people would come to us and say, hey, Zillabyte, find everybody using Google Analytics or whatever.
Or Omniture.
Or whatnot.
Whatever, yeah.
And the people who were asking those questions were very, very tech-savvy early adopters. And obviously, we wanted to appeal to a broader market. And so we took a step back and said, how can we make this more consumable to the average person?
Right.
And if you look at what actually happens, when somebody installs Google Analytics or installs Omniture, that's saying something about them. That's saying they're an early adopter, or it's saying they care about analytics or whatnot. And so that's what our product really tries to do is not really give you a list of people using Google Analytics, but give you a list of people who are early tech adopters or whatever the signal is you're looking for.
And who has this worked for so far? Can you share with us a client who's used it and had a great result?
Yeah, absolutely. So one of our customers is a company called Retargeter here in San Francisco. Retargeter does ad retargeting.
Sure.
And basically we took some of their customers, we modeled who their ideal customer looks like and gave them a new list. And this new list performed 35% better than their previous list.
Wow.
So that was a great signal for us, and it gave us a lot of confidence that we're on the right track.
So when you have a list of 100 prospects that are 35% more effective, what is that worth to a company that sells a product that's worth tens of thousands a year?
That's the $1 million question, and then honestly, that's one of the things we're trying to figure out, because one customer is worth different price points to different people. So, for example, Retargeter might be worth X number of dollars to the guy down the street might be worth 10 times as much, and so the holy grail in what we're trying to do is to try to get to a pay-for-performance type of pricing. That's really hard to pull off, but that's where we're trying to go.
So you say to Retargeter, we'll give you these 100 contacts, but when we check them 6 months from now, if they have the Retargeter tag on their page, we'd like to get a piece of that. Or if they become clients, we just agree that you'll give us $100 for each
That'd be
one.
the ideal scenario, right.
And they're not going to cheat you out of that $100 because
Right.
they probably want to build a continuing relationship with you.
Right.
And so, any other people who use the product yet that you've seen great success with?
Yeah, so we piloted the product with about 3 very close customers. So obviously they're all in the same range of having varying degrees of success.
Yeah.
We have about 50 more that we've kind of piloted on a self-serve type basis. And then we have about 500 who are on the wait list trying to get in.
Did the self-serve work? Were people able to navigate querying and figuring out their own data, or is that just too hard?
It's interesting you bring that up. So before we start preparing for launch, our UI, to be honest, kind of sucked.
It did.
And as you know. And then, going through the launch preparation, we were really focused on some eye candy and making it more of a better experience. And since then, the results have been better. They're still not perfect, but...
So better design equals more people using the self-serve platform.
Exactly. Our whole thesis is we're trying to get to this aha moment within the first 10 seconds. And once people get that aha moment, then they have more, better likelihood of actually exploring the rest of the product.
So how did you guys find out about the launch festival?
Everybody knows about launch.
Okay. But how did you decide then on, so you were aware of the event, I'm not sure exactly how you were aware, but how could you not be if you're in San Francisco? So how did you make the decision to apply, and how did you, get selected for the audience who doesn't know that much about the launch festival?
We were pretty heads down in development. One of our advisors, Eric Reese, sent us an email saying, hey, you guys should really explore this. It might be, good for you guys. And obviously, we take his advice very seriously. That's when we started the process and actually looked into it more and realized this could actually be really good for what we're doing.
And I remember that email from Eric, and we looked at it, and the product was impressive. We thought it solved
a unique, real problem.
Hey, what a great episode we're having here on This Week in Startups. And one of the things about running a startup is culture. You have to have a great culture. You got to have a great environment. And it sets a tone. And one of the tones you want to set is that you really have a warm, inviting, architecture and design of your own space so that people can come to work and feel proud of where they work and that it's gorgeous and looks like a startup company. That's why I use my Turnstone. It's a great product. It's not like low-end furniture from those people who, prefab them and you put them together and they break within a couple of months. It's not that garbage. But it's also not the ultra high-end multi-$1,000 units that are going to bankrupt your company and get angel investors like me kind of upset that you're blowing $10,000 per workstation. No, this is right in between those two. You might be able to spend a couple of $100, $800, $600 per workstation and have a gorgeous, gorgeous result like these desks here. And I use these My Turnstone desks and I love them. I sit on this kind of desk every day and have this kind of environment in my office and people love it. They're psyched to sit at their desks, psyched to just do all that hard work that it takes to make a startup company work. And Turnstone offers simple and smart furniture solutions for small businesses and startups. This is what they specialize in, and you can follow them on Twitter at MyTurnstone. We use them here for launch and inside, and even a bunch of other companies that are here in our incubator or co-working space. And the examples are gorgeous. You can see them here. Here's another one. I love this feature is that they have these. You can put the two desks together, or so you can be facing each other's desks. I have that with my top chief marketing officer, sales guy, business D guy, Sean Gold. But you can also put a couch in there. So we have these couches all over the place that are sort of integrated. So if somebody wants to just lounge out, or we have these stand-up desks. Like right now, I am standing on a My Turnstone desk. I don't know if we have the B camera set up, but there you go. You can see it. And I love this over here, which is, by the way, this is a plug, and then this is like a trough here. Like a trough, like horses go to get water. No, this is where you put all your cables. So people upstairs, we have one of these upstairs in the loft, and people just take their laptops, they walk up to it, and they stand for hours and work. And we'll have like little collaboration sessions where people go back and forth. And sometimes when I'm doing the show, I'm standing right now because I want to get that extra exercise and get my legs moving and not have my legs sort of get achy and tired from sitting at a chair all day. And, beautiful furniture like couches and little like wrap out sessions, because really startups are about collaboration. And if you don't have collaboration spaces, then people are like, hey, let's talk about something. And there's nowhere for them to go. You want to have a place for them to go. Go to myturnstone.com/twist, myturnstone.com/twist, TWiST, as in This Week in Startups, and you will get 10% off your first order. This offer is only for you, our loyal Twist listeners, and I had to say, hey guys, give me a discount. They're like, oh, well, it's hard to discount. They're very expensive. And we convinced them. Jason DeMont convinced him. Good job, Jason. He convinced him to give 10% off. Giving 10% off, it's not like they just have some silly software product and 10% off for virtual product that costs us $0.0 to give to you. This is expensive, hardwood, just weighty, strong furniture. And they are giving you 10% off if you go to myturnstone.com/twist, myturnstone.com/twist. And I've seen people tweeting this stuff out. If you tweet it out and put your startup name in there and just put @Jason, I'm going to go ahead and retweet it. And you get a little plug for your company and show me your My Turnstone. Show me your My Turnstone. It's a great product. All right, let's get back to the program. Thank you, My Turnstone.
But take us through what it was like after you were selected, but before you launched.
Sure. So after we were selected, we came in and we met with you and the team, and we basically sat down and said, what is our pitch going to look like? And our product at that point was not very polished on the UI side. Didn't really look that.
You didn't
nice.
have a designer, clearly. You just had developers working on it. And that showed.
Right. And so I think when we pitched you, we just pitched you with wireframes.
I remember, yeah.
And then you kind of gave us your blessing on the wireframes, and we basically spent the next month making those wireframes a reality.
Right.
So when we actually pitched at launch, we had the nice visualizations and all that stuff, which I think really helped us stand out from the rest of the pack.
Yeah. Design a critical piece of launching on stage.
Absolutely.
So when you guys pitched on stage, you got a really great response from the judges. What was the response like?
Let's see. I think one of the judges said there were 2 companies he would write a check for today, and we were one of those companies, which was great.
Who was that? David Sachs or Dave McClure? I can't remember. I do remember somebody saying that.
We're still trying to wrap up that conversation.
Oh, so it won't say.
Yeah.
So you can go back and anybody who's watching, just type in Zillabyte launch and you can watch the Q&A.
Yeah.
So we'll see. But you had people on the spot at the event offer to invest, huh?
Absolutely.
Really? How
Yeah.
many and how often at the event?
People will come and say, "Hey, we want to meet," as soon as possible. So we had one VC who we actually pitched about a year ago, and they passed at that point.
Uh-huh.
They saw us at launch, and they got excited. They blocked off, basically let us set the schedule and blocked off whatever time was available, convenient for us. We pitched them the next week, and they committed, I think, 24 hours later. So
Wow.
so that was awesome.
Really, persistence and resiliency winds up
Absolutely.
getting a yes from somebody who a year earlier gave a no.
Absolutely.
So what's your take from that as an entrepreneur?
Obviously, persistence goes a long way. And even in VCs, what I've learned about VCs is when they reject you the first time, they really do respect persistence, because that shows that you will do whatever it takes to make a company successful. And persistence is one of those signals that entrepreneurs give off that really demonstrate that.
Interesting. And so you guys are going to raise money, I'm assuming, now.
Yes, we've already started that process. We're about 70-80% of the way done. We actually have all of our round verbally committed.
Oh, that's great.
But we don't want to speak for it until money's in the bank.
Of course not, yeah. And so how quickly did that happen after the event? How much of it do you directly attribute to the event?
I would say we closed about 50% of it within the first 2 to 3 weeks after the event.
Wow.
And obviously, the event itself just helped immensely for 2 reasons. One is obviously the hype, the press, all that stuff. That
Awareness.
Awareness. That helps with social proof in whatever scenario. And 2, what I didn't really expect, which has helped quite a bit, was actually, your coaching and helping us refine our pitch on stage, because we essentially took the pitch that we gave on stage and injected it into our fundraising pitch. Obviously going into a little more details.
Right. 5 minutes is different than what you're going to pitch at a VC.
Exactly. But it's the same thing. We're trying to get that emotional response from the investor very quickly.
And that was something we went over in the rehearsals, is trying to make a connection. Your examples, I remember your examples originally were not good in the presentation. They were
Yeah.
But the examples got better and better and better, where you really started to feel like I could see myself using that product.
Absolutely.
Yeah. What else did you learn? Because you went to how many rehearsals, and how? Talk a little bit for the people who obviously don't see the rehearsals occurring. I'm going to show this video to people who are applying in the future. What were the rehearsals like? And you said the value of the rehearsals obviously was when it built a good foundation for the investor meetings, but what were the rehearsals actually like? Take people to where they occurred, what happened in them, what you learned, what were the interesting moments?
Yeah, so one stands out in particular. One was at Sequoia, I believe.
Yeah, Sequoia's been hosting, just so people know, Sequoia Capital, which is an investor in my company, has been hosting rehearsals since year one.
Yeah. So that experience, we met in a rather large conference room with about 5 or 6 other companies, I believe, maybe a little more. And basically gave practice pitches in front of everybody else. I remember actually being a little apprehensive initially, because I've seen previous launch videos, and sometimes participants get roasted on stage, which was obviously a concern for anybody. But
you could get hard questions.
Absolutely.
It's not like a kumbaya moment.
It's not a kumbaya. Anyway, the takeaway, what I learned from that experience was, you and the other judges on stage tell the entrepreneurs what they need to hear, not necessarily what they want to hear. Right. For example, you told us how to refine our pitch. It was a little painful at the moment, but actually helped us.
What was the painful part? What do you remember when I said it? You said, "Oh God, just being a jerk," or "Oh my God, that's just tough to hear."
It was the latter. It's as an entrepreneur, you fall in love with your ideas, you fall in love with your verbiage even, and it's hard to hear that what you've fallen in love with is not going to work in practice.
Got it.
And that's one thing I've learned as an entrepreneur, is that you just have to be realistic about how you present yourself and how you actually go out into the world. And so being flexible and not being married to your ideas is important.
Any other specific things you learned about presenting, I think, in those rehearsals, watching other people, like best practices you could share with other entrepreneurs now?
Yeah, speak slowly. That's the most important thing. When you're on stage, you have a tendency to speak very quickly, and words get cluttered, and it's just very important to speak slowly, be confident, and get your message across.
Right. If you go too fast and you're trying to cram a bunch of stuff in, people may never actually grok the basic idea.
Absolutely.
And you guys were very clear. We're Pandora for sales leads. We
Right.
help people find sales leads based upon their existing clients.
Right.
Here's how we do it. And you really nailed that very well. So a year from now, you raise the money. Let's say you raise the money, which obviously is going to happen shortly. And full disclosure, I'm planning on participating in it. I think I can say that. It's my money. I can say that, right? The launch fund is doing that. So I'm a big fan, obviously, what you're doing. A year from now, after you spend a bunch of money, what 2 things will be true if you've succeeded? What are the 2 most important things your team needs to get done 12 months from now? If you've invested $1 million, let's say.
The 2 things that will make us successful in a year, right?
Accomplishments, yeah.
The basic story that we need to tell in a year from now is that we will plan to raise our Series A at that point,
Right.
or start thinking about it anyway.
That's why I'm asking.
The basic story we need to pitch is if you inject more money into Zillabyte, you will get a much better return. And
Okay.
we have the math to back it up. That's what it comes down to. So as far as actually executing on that, we have our first vertical that we've identified, and it's all about dominating that first vertical and just saying, hey, our technology is proven. We can actually, make these people extremely happy. And part of that story is also saying, once we've done that in that first vertical, there's enough similarity with the next vertical that we can then go after bigger and better markets.
So you're anticipating that if you can get one market to work well, that'll send a great signal to the VCs in this Series A crunch timeframe, whether that exists or not, but is debatable. But if there is, in fact, a Series A crunch, and it's hard to get a Series A, the benchmark has been raised. We all agree on that. You need to come with tangible results. And the way to get tangible results is to refine, maybe even narrow the focus to one type of client.
Right, exactly. We are in a unique situation because our product is bound by technology, so there's only so much modeling we can do in the next 12 months. So our whole thesis is, let's show that the modeling can scale to every company in the world. And if we can do that, then we believe it's a very solid case to go and raise more money for a Series A.
How do people currently buy sales leads? Do they just hire people to do, dialing for dollars, prospecting, or how do most people get their leads, and what do people spend on generating leads?
It's a $15 billion market.
$15 billion.
$15 billion market. That's lead gen and lead scoring. We believe it should
Lead scoring? What's lead scoring?
Lead scoring is when somebody comes to your site, signs up for the form, and you have marketing automation that scores that lead, say A, B, C, or D, on how likely they are to convert.
Which one are the Glengarry leads?
Yeah, exactly.
So to speak?
Exactly.
How do they do that? They look at the future revenue of that lead. So they look at the lifespan of the lead and look back on it and say, oh, this person answered questions A, B, and C this way, and they wound up spending $1 million a year from now, so that's an A lead.
Well, the status quo on how that's done now is humans go in and manually create rules. And so if you visit my site and you visit the product page and then the about page,
Sure.
A human is manually telling which rules and how to score you based off of that. And we're looking at that problem saying, that's actually something a machine should be doing, and a machine can do it much better at scale. And so we're trying to automate that process.
Got it. And so $15 billion a year, wow. So how do you plan on charging for the product?
So let's get back to the industry. So the industry today, it's very stodgy. It's very, very human powered. And so there are lots of these list vendors in the world who will send you an email and say, hey, for $1,000, I'll give you this list of people who, use Salesforce or whatnot. And so there's no pay for performance. It's all about value capture for the list vendor rather than value creation for the customer. And that's our whole play is we want to say, look, we care about making money for our customers. And as much as possible, we just want to take a cut of what revenue we add to the system.
Interesting. And the company is based here, or?
Yes, we're in San Francisco.
Oh, got it. But one of your co-founders is in Atlanta?
He's in Georgia this week visiting family. Yeah.
Ah, got it. But is he based there or here?
He's here.
Oh, okay.
He just had
What's his name again?
Roger.
Roger, right. Sorry. I've had a long day. This is like the 4th episode of This Week in Startups I've taped in one day.
Understand.
So Roger is your partner. He's the one who gave the presentation.
Yeah.
And so he's handling sales. You're the CEO. Is that the
right.
sort of... And how big's the company now?
Two, just the two of us right now.
And now you're doing the development yourself, or you have a team
Right.
or an outsourced
So
team?
I'm the engineer / CEO / janitor.
Yeah. And now you raise money, and then you're gonna start hiring employees.
Exactly.
And what kind of employees do you need to hire? What's the core team gonna look like?
So the first 3 engineers we want to hire are the full stack engineers. They're kind of the unicorns. They're very hard to find, but we're looking for a very strong Rails developer and very strong Hadoop / cascading backgrounds.
Got it. And so if people are looking for those jobs, they could go to zillabyte.com, Zillabyte.
Correct.
And I'm sure jobs at Zillabyte works.
Yes.
Or your first name.
Yes.
At
Anything at
Zillabyte.
Zillabyte will go to me.
Generally, first name at company name is how you reach the CEO. So looking at the Y Combinator experience and now the launch experience, how do you compare those two, and how do they differ? Where do they overlap?
That's a great question. Obviously, Y Combinator is great because it helps you get on that path of product market fit. So when we started Zillabyte, like I said, we had a different idea. We had an idea that, frankly, nobody really cared about. And Y Combinator really helped us refine it and really talk to customers and really see how can we build something that people really care about. We exited Y Combinator, and we're still trying to figure things out. With Launch has definitely helped us in a similar regard about refining our pitch and making us more appealing to broader audiences. Again, I think you've helped us quite a bit with our pitch and making it resonate with customers.
And how about the demo day? I mean, how would you compare demo day at Y Combinator versus launch? It seems like they're kind of similar, but demo day is a lot smaller, just investors, and launch is bigger, I guess. But maybe not as dense with investors.
I guess the difference between launch conference and Y Combinator demo day is, obviously launch conference seems to have a B2C focus on it.
Yeah.
We got to make this exciting for the average consumer. It makes sense. The Y Combinator demo day is obviously more focused for investors and talking more about the market opportunity and things of that nature, whereas launch is more about focused squarely on product.
Yeah, we try to keep it very focused on product. You think that's a mistake? You think we should add a little bit more market size to the pitches?
No, I think market size is pretty apparent. I think you can tell pretty quickly if it's a big market or not. And if you don't know it, you probably shouldn't be investing in the first place.
Right, you can always get that in the follow-up. So after you get off stage, but before you win the award, how do you capitalize on that moment in time? When you're coming off stage and then, you have a certain number of hours. I don't know what day did you, 1, 2, or 3?
We did on 2.
Okay, so you have, 36 hours between the award ceremony, and what do you do during that period?
That's when we man the booth and we hand out as much swag as possible. So we didn't want just to hand out T-shirts because everybody was handing out T-shirts. So we tried to come up with something a little unique and get people excited about what we're doing and try to build that relationship going forward.
What was that?
Totes, bags.
Oh, good. And a lot of meetings in between that time, and did you meet anybody interesting?
We did meet a few VCs. We tried to defer most meetings until after the conference.
Interesting. And then the winner's dinner.
Yeah, that was pretty insane. That was pretty cool.
Yeah. So talk about that. What was that experience like?
The restaurant was
585,
which is excellent steak.
Excellent steak, Wagyu, and everything here in
yeah, I love steak.
San Francisco.
Yeah, we sat down with some very big name VCs who actually ended up investing in our round.
That's great.
Which is very cool, and just a great networking event. Met some great people, and hopefully building some relationships for the long haul.
Did you meet anybody at the Angel dinner the night before we started, that Sunday night?
I actually wasn't able to attend that, but
one person
Roger
gets to go. Roger went
Yeah.
to that one, right? We can only fit one founder per company because we try to have a one-to-one or better than one-to-one relationship, one-to-one count with the angel investors, so they're not mobbed. Well, listen, continued success with the project. When can people get in there and start playing with it? Do you anticipate? When do you think those 500 people waiting in line or the people listening right now would be able to use this?
So you can sign up today, and essentially what we do is we dog food our own product. So when you sign up, we try to look at your company, and we try to pick out, hey, can we actually add value to this company right now? And if so, then we'll let you in sooner. If not, then we'll wait until the technology matures.
So when do you think people will be able to get into the product in a large way? Or is it always going to be like, contact us and then we'll have a discussion?
No. It'll definitely be self-serve. We're shooting for self-serve in the next 3 months.
Oh, really? So maybe
Yeah.
in the fall,
Yeah.
come September 2013, you'll be able to play with the product, sign up, and there'll be some kind of pay-per query model or something. You have to figure that out.
We're figuring that out, and hopefully we'll figure that out by that point.
Yeah, because it does seem to me that on a pricing basis, if it's free or too cheap, then it's less valuable because the leads will be more commoditized.
Right.
So I almost feel like it's a good thing to price out half the market so that the top half of the market that does get the leads,
Right.
they're not competing with the bottom half of the market. Is that correct, or am I wrong in that?
You're correct. And we feel like doing a freemium type model will do wonders for our distribution. Obviously, the balance there is we might be leaving money on the table, which we're actually fine with. But as far as monetizing, obviously the pay for performance is a great model. The backup option that we're talking about now is monetizing the temporal dimension of what we're doing. So when a company changes and installs OpenTable, does something to become your ideal customer, that's very important to you, and we hope we can.
That's
monetize
something
that
you're
for you.
really worth paying for. So if I'm building the new analytics product, if I just got an email that somebody changed
Right.
their analytics provider or added an analytics provider or took one down, that's a really good sign for me.
Right.
Like, oh, you took down Omniture and you put up Google Analytics.
Exactly.
That means you're sick of paying for Omniture.
Right.
You went with the free version. Maybe I can upsell you on a better version.
Right. Or if Omniture has a 12-month contract or whatever it is,
Oh,
and we
right.
can notify you 2 months before that contract expires, that's also a very
Fascinating.
Very interesting
Yeah,
signal.
that's another interesting signal. And what about tracking like the management team page and stuff like that? Like I've seen services where, competitively you can be like, send me any red line changes to my competitor's site. Is that worth it, or is that just for business intelligence?
So that's part of our secret sauce on the technology side, is just making it very easy for us to model those kinds of changes. And so that's the whole idea of Zillabyte. That's why we call it Zillabyte, is trying to pull in all of those signals into one unified model.
Got it. Interesting. Okay, well, listen, it's going to be an amazing journey. I'm glad to be on it. So great to have you guys launch at the Launch Festival. We were really just thrilled with having you there.
Thank you for having us. It was a great experience.
I think for all of us, a great experience. I have to say, watching you guys improve the product and just great reaction from people. And what you have is a product that provides true value. So if you can execute well, it's almost like one of those things where it's a sure bet if you execute well.
Right.
I mean, do you feel like there's any way, what keeps you up at night? Is there something that you're worried about that if we don't solve this one thing, we're effed?
It definitely is an execution problem for us, or not, it's an execution challenge, I should say.
Sure, yeah.
And so what keeps us up at night is it's a very hard technical challenge, which we're trying to do. And so it's just building the product in a scalable way that is our major hurdle. And assuming we can tackle that, which we think we can, like you said, I think it's a sure bet.
Yeah, see, that's one of those things about when you're in a market where you're helping people make money.
Right.
God, it's easy to get them to pay. It's
Yeah.
not like it's not like you're selling like news. It's like
Yeah.
you're selling a lead.
Yeah.
All you have to do is have one lead pay off, and if you were charging $1,000 a year for the product and that lead generates more than $1,000 in business, it's so easy to justify.
Yeah. Yeah. One of our early customers had one of their leads converted to I think it was a $30,000 a year contract for them, which
Wow.
was great. We didn't charge them for that because we were piloting it, but
Yeah.
there's
But
a lot
that
of-
means you could say to them, hey, I want $5,000 a month to do this custom work.
right.
So how do you think about that custom work versus just letting people play with the platform on their own? It does seem like if you start, getting people those kind of software leads, my gosh, they're going to want a lot of customization. That could be a high margin business. Or are you afraid of having more service and customization revenue? How do you look at that?
We actually answer this in two parts. So one is we always want this freemium model where people can just start using the product without clicking to sign up or
Yeah.
anything like that. As people become more ingrained in the product and they become power users, they will want some custom modeling. And so in the future, we will allow an API where they can actually model attributes themselves.
Oh, wow.
That's obviously a technical hurdle. Instead, they could, we might farm out some professional service arm of the company that helps with
I
that.
love the professional service thing. You say like, hey, if you're an optimization company, I want alerts anytime a website gets 25% slower. Like if I'm a hosting company, if I'm Rackspace, and I just say, I want to know anybody whose performance is less than 30%, which is 300 milliseconds slower than our average customer.
Right.
Because then we can go to them and say, our average customer is 300 milliseconds faster than you.
Right.
And you really need to start thinking maybe Amazon Web Services isn't the place for you. We can optimize and get you 30% faster.
And that's right in line with the types of signals we want to incorporate into Zillabyte.
Well, that gives me a hint on the first category. It might be web hosting or even software. So anyway, listen, continued success, Jake. And everybody follow at Zillabyte. Go to zillabyte.com, put your email address in. And if you're a full stack developer who really has a passion for this kind of thing and wants to be part of a sure bet that, get that founder level equity, that, like really early stage, not founder level, but A round, series,
pretty
angel
good.
round equity. That's where you want to get in.
You'll be taken care of.
Yeah, this is a good time to get options in this company. So get in there, and we'll see you next time on This Week in Startups.
Part 2 of today's episode, Ask Jason. Hear Jason's advice for entrepreneurs who are raising money.
Okay, do you want to take one more question?
I will take one more question.
Okay.
I could do this all day.
I know you could, but we
can
have a
go.
limited amount of time and your viewers have a limited amount of time.
No, they don't. The viewers have an unlimited amount of time to hear my advice, Karen. Let's keep going.
All right, so this is from Martin.
I don't think my advice is necessarily the best advice, but I do think I think things through.
All right.
And I can give a good answer to... let me tell you something. In terms of this whole Q&A thing, if I don't know, I'm going to say I don't know.
Okay. So this is from Martin. He actually was going to be on the show today, but he had to drop out at the last minute because he had a VC meeting.
Oh, good for him. Smart move.
That's a good reason not to participate.
Absolutely.
So he had actually emailed you his questions a couple days ago.
Okay.
And he's got a company called UXPin, UXP as in Peter, IN, bringing design to the masses and making it easier for non-professionals to do design. And he's already raised $500,000.
Oh my God, I love this already. Go.
He's raised $500,000 of a $1.5 million round. And his first question was how to prove to investors that the market size that he's going after. He says, we're close to 500 paying customers. We didn't even start our marketing. They're having a couple meetings with VCs. They're reluctant to believe in the opportunity. And so he's wondering how he can prove this to them.
Okay. The reason people are concerned about the market size is because the market size is concerning. How many UX developers are there and how many will there be? And how much would those UX designers be willing to pay? So you have market size, time, and then market growth, and lifetime value of customers. I mean, this is a formula. And so they have to figure out at $12 a month, which is kind of a low fee, but if there's 1 million people, it's $12 million a month. So if there's 1 million customers, I get the sense there's 10,000 customers for this product, which is $120,000 a month. And at $12 a month, if you're making $120,000, you're making $1 million a year, that's great for you. It sucks for investors. And so there's two ways to address this. One is to explain and research very deeply the size of the opportunity. Global, if they could translate this into 20 different markets efficiently, and they have done it for 3 other markets. So if they could, even one market, if they could show, we translated this into France, and this is like the Uber problem, right? Like Uber's like, oh, how big can Uber be? San Francisco is going great, but how many other cities are there? And then all of a sudden they do 10 cities, 20 cities, and 40 cities, and people are like, oh yeah, they could clearly go to 300 cities. This company is going to crush it. So there's 2 ways they can go about this. One is international opportunity, and how big is that? Or is this Adobe, and it's not just Photoshop, it's InDesign and Flash and all these other products. So UX is where they start, but they quickly move into, a Photoshop competitor that's, somehow leverages this web-based UX. Or there's a higher end product that costs $1,000 a year, and it's even better. Or there's upselling packages. So, you have to present a big vision, but you have to execute small. And what you have here is they've executed small. They need to present a bigger vision. And so what you can do is lie. I don't really
Fake it till you make it?
Fake it till you make it is what I'm kind of saying. So I don't really mean lie. What I mean is fully explain how many different ways this could grow. So it could grow because we believe that $12 a month will eventually become $120 a month because UX designers on average get paid $80,000 a year, and this would be, we can get 1% of their salary. So $800 a year is reasonable because graphic designers and people who do Photoshop spend 1% of their yearly salary on the Creative Suite from Adobe, right? So you have some parallel there. We think 1% of salary equals what this product will eventually be, and we just have to fill in the product, and it's going to be, 16 quarters to fill in the product. Every quarter we go. So there's that, and drawing a parallel. Then there's international. Okay, there's more people in China and India than there are here, and they're doing a lot of this UX work, so we're going to get China and India on lockdown in the Spanish-speaking market, the Chinese-speaking market, India, and boy, is this going to grow. And yeah, they're going to pay $3 but a month, not 12, but we're going to make up for it in volume. And then there's 5 other products down the line that are adjacent, which is what Adobe did. I mean, if Adobe, I don't know exactly what Adobe started with, but even Microsoft was like, okay, we have DOS. Okay, now we have Windows. Okay, we have Windows. We have Microsoft Word. Oh, we have Excel. And all of a sudden, they got a full suite of Office, and it looks like a pretty good offering. And the same thing happened with Google. Like, oh, we have Gmail.
So you should say we're an Adobe killer?
Well, you could start there and say, listen, I think that we're analogous to an Adobe or a Microsoft. We're going to start, we're going to make a best product, and we're going to be the people who make the tools that are next generation. And that are pay-as-you-go, monthly software as a service. And we think we can, and here's another one. Here's a third tip, right? So there's increasing your revenue per customer. There's increasing the markets is number 2. Increasing the product offering is number 3. And number 4 is M&A. We believe that we can build such a great base of users that when we have 100,000 paying customers, we can buy these other products the way Evernote bought Sketch, and we can make Sketch a product extension. Then we're going to really jazz up the amount of people paying for the pro version. In their case, they just did it to get more customers into Evernote, but they could have charged for Sketch, and I would have paid for it. So I think there's like 3-4 ways to skin a cat, and the last one is M&A, right? Like, okay, we're Maker Studios. We're going to raise $40 million, and we're going to start buying other people's YouTube channels because we've figured out YouTube better than anybody. So there is that other possibility.
Okay, and he actually had a follow-up question.
All right,
which
here
is
we go.
interesting. So he said, are paying customers really sexy for Silicon Valley? He said, we're originally from Poland. We're just relocating to the Valley. We're close to break even, but our plans are huge, so we want to accelerate the growth. I thought having 500 paying customers growing 30% month to month would be super sexy in the Valley, but well, let's say so far it doesn't look like that.
Okay, so he's doing it wrong. You need to have a little bit more of a freemium model where you can have a large number of people using the product for free forever, like Evernote, and you have paid. So what they're doing is they're doing the 30-day trial, and so they're probably pushing a little too hard. They're doing trial, not freemium. Freemium is, it's free for this 80%, and this 20% extra is where you pay. And so you can use it for free for life. You can use Evernote for free for life. You can use Dropbox for free for life. But then at a certain point, based on storage or based on features, you're going to have to move up. And so what they've done is they've just done it wrong here. They're doing try it for free for 30 days. It's a trial. I don't agree with the trial. You've got to find a big swath of people, get a million people using the free product, and then slowly convert them as they love your product, which is what Evernote does. We had Phil on the program multiple times talk about this process, which is, the people from 3 years ago are still converting over. And as time goes on, the likelihood of you converting to a paid customer increases and increases and increases. And that cohort analysis, people who joined in January of 2009, how many of those have converted so far versus January of 2010, January 2011, January 2012, January 2013. When you start doing the cohort analysis, all of a sudden it starts looking wonderful. Like, if we keep you for 3 years, you got a 50% chance of paying us. Like, that's the kind of good stats that they'll get if they had a free product. So this should be free for almost everything. And then if you want to store more than 25 documents, you got to pay. And then you're going to get people who are like, oh, small inconvenience, I'll pay.
So the question is from the VC perspective. So as a VC, you're more interested in somebody who has a large base, only a percentage of them paying, than a small base and all of them paying.
Correct. And I'm not a VC, but I know how VCs think. VCs want it all. They want a large number of people using it, and they want to see the revenue scaling. So I just think that what they've done is they've just almost done it right. If they were going to just do a dude business and bootstrap this, sure, 30-day trial, convert to paid, no nonsense. But for VCs who are looking for a big opportunity, they're going to want to see a big footprint of possible paying customers down the road, and you want to get that conversion funnel going. So in the short term, forcing people to pay will get you that short-term hit of people will have to pay. But I don't think long-term you're going to get all this feedback on your product, and that's really what you're going for. Evernote gets so much if only 5% of people pay for Evernote, that means 95% of the feedback, or even if the people who are paid
give double the feedback of unpaid people, that still means 90% of the feedback is coming from free people. So what you're getting in this product, UX Pin, which is a good-looking product, and it reminds me of Balsamic and others, they're not getting as much feedback to make the product better. So that means they're not going to be able to innovate as fast, and that's what the VCs know. So I think you got to come in, you got to be a little bit humble, but if we had this conversation 5 or 6 years ago, yeah, people didn't care about revenue at all, even freemium, whatever. It's be like, yeah, just get to scale and then let's flip it. Since Yammer, since Box and Dropbox, Zendesk, people are starting to realize like there is virtue in getting people to pay, and consumers love paying for great products. They love it. Instagram would have had a huge business if they made people pay. Even Facebook, if they had a pro version of Facebook that got you, the stickers, or if they did Facebook Pro, I'm guaranteeing they convert 2 or 3%, which would be 20 or 30 million paying customers. That'd be incredible. I don't know what the product would be, but I bet you more people.
Ad-free.
Well, and they can't do that. But if they actually made that new product, which takes over your homepage, what's it called, with the faces and everything?
The chat heads.
The chat heads and everything, and taking over your home screen. If they made that a 99-cent app, I bet you more people would have tried it than if they made it free. Because they'd be more intrigued, like, oh, it's worth paying for. It's the Apple sort of theory. This is worth paying for. Getting back to David Hanmeyer-Hansen's appearance on the program, like, be bold enough to make a product that has a profit margin that people are willing to pay for. And maybe Amazon doesn't make the best tablets because they don't have to, because they're selling them at a discount, so it sort of takes the edge off of the team that's making it, because Kindle Fire is not as good as the iPad mini. Great question. 2 great questions from uxpin.com. Thank you, UXPin.
Distribution provided by Cloud Sigma, the cloud that adapts to you. Visit cloudsigma.com/thisweekend for a free $200 credit.
Today's episode of This Week in Startups is brought to you by Turnstone. More than furniture, we're an experience. Go to myturnstone.com/twist to learn more and receive 10% off your first order. And by GoToMeeting. Sign up for GoToMeeting using promo code TWIST to begin your free trial.
Today on the program, Zillabyte, the company that won Best Enterprise 2.0 at the Launch Festival 2013. They're doing Pandora for sales leads. And if that sounds fascinating, it is. It's going to change everything about the way people sell and about the way people prospect. And it's a company that a half dozen angel investor friends of mine have really gotten excited about. And I can't make any announcements, but I think there's going to be some exciting news from this company in the weeks and months ahead. Stick with us. It's going to be an amazing program.